to my channel, and today we are going to be looking at a creepypasta titled The Creature in the Mirror. If you love scary stories like this, then make sure to subscribe for more content. The lights are off. All you see is an old wooden table illuminated by a flickering candle. On it is an antique mirror, dusty and ornate, but what's inside is even more entrancing. A gaunt, hairless figure sits slumped over, staring directly at you. His skin is stretched tight over his bones. His eyes are wide, wet, and glistening. But what really steals your attention is his mouth. His entire bottom jaw is missing. Well, it was a jaw once. It was just a gaping maw filled with what looks like a mass of knotted, bloody intestines. You know you shouldn't, but you reach out a shaky hand towards him. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't blink. As your fingers close around his shoulder, he slowly turns his head. One eye fixes on yours and a single word escapes his lips. Help. You recoil as he reaches out for you, his reflection rippling and distorting as his gnarled fingers curl and uncurl. I need your help, he rasps, please. You want to scream, but you can't. You want to tear your hand away from his clammy grasp, but you can't. Then you hear a voice behind you. Boo. You turn to see a pair of grinning faces leering at you, one holding a flashlight that reveals the true nature of the creature in the mirror. It's only then that you realize the faces were never in the mirror at all. They were behind you the whole time. So here's what's happened. You've unwittingly invoked an ancient evil, something that has been sealed away in the mirror by powerful magic. The only thing keeping it contained is the silver backing. That's why it needs your help to get free. Now the only way to undo the spell is to sacrifice the person standing next to you. Fortunately, they aren't real. Only you are. And whatever's in that mirror, well, it's real as hell. This is the most famous urban legend in the world. In fact, most people already know it. The myth of Bloody Mary. Most versions go something like this. Turn off all of the lights in your house, stand in front of a mirror, and call out Mary 3 times. And when she appears, don't turn around or look away. Because if you do, she'll think you're her and she'll take your place forever. That last part is key. It's where this story diverges from the classic tale. The internet loves retellings of old urban legends. But the modern twist, a story like this gets passed around so many times before it eventually becomes the norm. So let's explore the myth of Bloody Mary, its origin, how it has evolved over time, and finally how it ties into this story. Bloody Mary is widely considered to be the most famous ghost story in history. Like most myths, there are a variety of origins for the specter in the mirror. But our Bloody Mary hails from the early 20th century. Born Helen Eliza Peabody, she was the daughter of Andrew Jackson Downing, the owner of one of the most popular boarding houses in the U.S. Died in the late 1800s. One night, Helen's father disappeared. Some say he fell overboard while on a trip aboard the Titanic, although that's probably not true. And others claim he was lost at sea after trying to sail across the Atlantic in a rowboat. Either way, Helen was understandably traumatized. While she may have started out normal, the stress of losing her dad turned her into a psychopath. She began torturing animals, decapitating dolls, and even killing a young maid who had annoyed her. Her mother would lock her away in a room in the basement. And while she was down there, Helen would stare directly into a mirror and whisper, "Beware, beware the one who comes behind thee." This ultimately led to Helen's own demise. She took her own life and hung herself in the basement, and the legend goes that she haunts those mirrors searching for a new vessel to inhabit. The earliest known written account of Bloody Mary comes from 1907 in the Boston Evening Transcript. We also find her in a short story called The Ghost in the Mirror by W.F. Harvey. Written in 1924, it's about a woman named Mary Scholler who, after hearing her aunt has died, travels to her home to collect an inheritance. Upon arriving, she discovers a hidden room lined with mirrors and a book with instructions on how to raise spirits. Of course, Mary reads the book and soon finds herself face to face with her deceased aunt, whose soul is trapped within the mirrors. Although in this version, the story takes place in the Victorian era, implying that Mary's soul is trapped forever, unable to move on because of unfinished business. For a while, though, these two references were the only recorded instances of the now famous legend. But by the 1960s, Bloody Mary had become a household name. According to Reader's Digest, the urban legend picked up steam after World War II, coinciding with the rise of cheap electricity and indoor plumbing. More than ever, young people were spending time alone in bathrooms staring directly at the porcelain gods. At the same time, society became fascinated with all things paranormal, thanks in large part to radio programs that told spooky tales. First mention of calling her name 3 times to summon her came in a column called Reader's Digest. It appeared in the April 1968 edition of Reader's Digest and was sent in by Catherine M. Cook, a 32-year-old school teacher from New York City. One day, she and her friend were hanging out in a bathroom when her friend asked her to try the ritual. Well, since there was nothing else to do, I agreed. We turned off the lights, and as the last vestige of daylight left the room, I saw a terrifying ghoulish figure behind me at the far end of the room and slowly glide toward me. I screamed and ran from the bathroom and hid under a bed until I was quite sure that whatever it was had gone away. When I returned to the bathroom, the apparition was gone. In the mid-70s, the legend reached new heights when the ghost of Bloody Mary appeared on the most popular television program in the United States, The Twilight Zone. The episode called Mirror Image shows a woman who spends her days belittling her reflection only to find out that her narcissistic behavior has opened a portal to another dimension where an evil spirit is waiting to enter her body. She learns too late that she has just helped it break free. If you're wondering whether any of this is actually true, rest assured it isn't. But that's not to say Bloody Mary hasn't claimed victims. Over the years, hundreds of teenagers have tried the ritual only to suffer terrible consequences. Usually, it's just a bad case of stage fright or an anxiety attack. But sometimes things have gotten deadly serious. In 1974, a group of British schoolgirls playing Bloody Mary summoned a demon that possessed one of their friends, causing her to levitate, move objects with her mind, and even spit backwards. How the demon was eventually expelled, it wasn't without consequence. After being released, the girl cut off all of her hair, threw herself through a window, and attempted to strangle herself with a coat hanger. Eventually, she made a full recovery, but the incident caused such a stir that local priests held a ceremony to banish the demon from the area. Around the same time, a high school student in Topeka, Kansas, was hanging out in the bathroom with her boyfriend when she turned around, surprised to see a demonic-looking figure behind her. In shock, she ran from the bathroom and fell down a flight of stairs, knocking herself unconscious. When she awoke, she learned that she had suffered a broken nose, a concussion, and a fractured wrist. Coincidence? Perhaps, but some think she might have invoked the spirit of Carrie. But there's another legend that explains the presence behind the mirror. There's one that many of you are familiar with, La Llorona, aka the Woman in White. Her story dates back to pre-Hispanic times, and every culture has a slightly different telling of her origins. But most versions agree on one thing: her appearance is a harbinger of doom. A common variation goes like this. You hear chains dragging along the ground, heavy footsteps coming closer and closer, and then you see her. First, it's just a white figure against the darkness, but as she comes into view, you can make out the details. Her feet drag in the mud. She wears a long, tattered white dress, and her hair is matted and hangs over her face. But it's her face that truly terrifies you. Her eyes are wide with terror. Her mouth is stretched into a silent scream, and her arms are outstretched, forever searching. She's looking for her children, and she won't stop until she finds them, even if it means taking yours. In many ways, La Llorona is the perfect myth for this story. She serves as both the antagonist and the warning. The story implies that she is the creature in the mirror, that she is Bloody Mary. Or perhaps she is the embodiment of Bloody Mary. There are no hard facts to confirm any of this. It's all speculation, but that's part of what makes these stories so compelling. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, check out the playlist. I have a link to it in the description. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.